Now, yesterday, the Speaker of Parliament did name a 5-member select committee of Parliament that will be investigating the NSSF on matters of nepotism, unfair recruitment, illegal purchase of shares in Umeme, and irregular disposal of assets, including other matters related to the management of the pension funds body. On Newsnight tonight, we discussed these underlying factors, what the select committee will probably be doing, and what they should focus their attention on just in a moment. You're watching Newsnight. The old man of the clan, Andrew Mwenda, and also CEO of the Independent magazine. Andrew, we keep talking about the pension sector because it is key. 400,000 people, including me and you.
500,000.
Yeah, have their money there. And for us, it's an investment.
Now Parliament is forming a committee.
To investigate what's happening. What really is happening at NSSF?
But let me first of all tell you, this is a sad day for Uganda.
Why?
You see, I ask myself, do these members of Parliament think? Or perhaps they do not know, and therefore the Speaker of Parliament is acting from a position of ignorance. You see, if you have an institution, the first thing is to develop institutions. To develop institutions is also requires to give them space to be able to operate without you hanging over their heads. Let me give you an example of the performance of NSSF over the last 3 years. One, the size of the fund in terms of assets grew from 1.7 billion to 3.9 billion. In 3 years, it has more than doubled.
Yes.
That is a 129% growth, right? Monthly contribution collections have increased from 27 billion to 50 billion. Employer compliance from 45% to 73%. Fund revenue has increased from 199 billion to 481 billion. I can go on. This is a highly successful fund within the limits of...
And the committee, I'm sure, will find this evidence.
Is that what the committee is going to do?
Because amongst the things they will be looking at is irregular disposal of assets, mismanagement of the fund.
Okay, let me
so
give
clearly you wouldn't make money unless you are...
Let me ask you this. Which irregular disposal of assets? NSSF in 2008 bought a piece of land at 600 million.
The land in
Rubaga.
Yes, Rubaga.
They sold it in 2012, 4 years later, at the same price.
Amount of money.
Yes.
Claiming there was no access road.
Yes, claiming there was no access road.
Yes.
Then they are saying that is an irregular disposal of assets. Now, let me ask you, Maurice. One, you know that between 2008, there has been a collapse in the real estate market.
True. The details are
Is
there.
that an irregular?
No,
would it
happens.
be irregular that if you bought a house in 2009, you can, rather 2008, you can sell it in 2012 at the same price? Two, Maurice. The IGG was so uninformed because the first thing is, was the original price the right price anyway at which they bought? They could have bought at an exorbitant price, in which case the land was being sold at the market price because it had been bought above market price.
Yes.
So, if the Parliament of Uganda is going to be reduced to investigating a purchase of 600 million shillings, you cannot buy a house anywhere in Kampala at 600 million. This is a fund of 4.5 trillion. You're investigating 600 million, how they dispose the house. Another thing they're saying, illegal purchase of Umeme shares. Me and you the other day discussed.
Yes.
The best investment NSSF has made
was the purchase
in the last
of those shares.
3 years, in fact in the last 5 years, is the purchase of NSSF.
Because the return on the shares is very positive.
That is now subject to investigation.
Yes.
So it means that if you are a manager at NSSF, every decision you make, it will be investigated by IGG. When IGG finishes, it will be investigated by PPDA. When that finishes, it will be the press. When you are done with the press, it will be Parliament. When Parliament is through, watch, State House is going to form a committee to investigate. Before State House has finished, you will hear that even the Ministry of Finance is investigating. How can you subject an institution to 1 million investigations on a daily basis and expect anybody reasonable to work there and succeed?
I've always asked, and I see when our friend Agaba, who recently passed the interviews and should be heading the pension fund, I always wonder what drives them to apply for this job, because it's highly political.
But, well, let me tell you, I do not know Edgar Agaba very well, but nobody worth their reputation with prospects in any other area can apply for a job at NSSF. Let me ask you, Maurice, assuming you are managing Stanbic Bank,
yes,
Barclays Bank, Standard Chartered Bank, you are working with Deutsche Bank or JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs in New York, and they call you to head NSSF, would you? With this constant barrage of ignorant investigations, uninformed accusations, attacks, and whatever it is, would you head it? In other words, what Kadaga is doing, she's opening a Pandora's box. She's throwing a stone into a beehive. I appeal to the people of Uganda, the leaders of Uganda, please protect your institutions. And you know, I used to think that these problems also emanate from Museveni specifically. But I have gone to realize that the Ugandan political process is organized in such a way that it actually undermines the ability of institutions to grow. You see, institutions, for them to grow, they must develop a degree of internal independence and autonomy to exercise decisions in a competent and professional manner. If you subject managers to a constant barrage of investigation, this is a highly successful and profitable fund right now. Why are we investigating a fund that is so profitable, whose growth is unprecedented? Let me tell you, NSSF Uganda is performing that better than any pension fund in East, Central, and Southern Africa. All
right, and we will hold it there because we will give now the time to the committee to do their job. We will return to this subject as soon as the committee...
But you are thinking that the committee has the competences really to investigate anything? Let me tell you about the committee.
Yes.
The members of the committee are the same people who investigated
the energy
Umeme,
yes,
and even recommended that concession be cancelled. The same people have been appointed to the same committee when the concession is the most successful concession in the whole of Africa.
All right.
The most successful energy concession.
All right, Andrew, we'll continue this discussion as soon as the findings of this committee are out and on matters of the pension sector. That on another day when we will return with Newsnight.